welcome everyone to episode 104 of the Destiny Digest podcast. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us today. We have Tiddly. Hello.
Hello.
We have EpicDan22. How are you, sir?
Hello, hello.
And we have all of our dads, the dad of all of us, Craig here. Craig, you want to say something? No. Craig's not going to say anything.
He's a quiet dad.
He's very quiet. He yells at you right at the front, but not so much whenever you want to talk to him, just like my real dad. Anyways, let's get into housekeeping. Happy Father's Day, everybody.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Papa Day.
On to housekeeping. You can join us live every Sunday night around 3:30 p.m. Pacific, 6:30 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/Destiny Digest. Twitch.tv/Destiny Digest. You can ask questions live in chat and help us shape the conversation for the episode. Episodes go live the next day on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Pocket Casts. You can also help others find the show by rating and reviewing the show on your podcast platform of choice. I haven't seen any negative reviews with 5 stars on them, so I guess we're doing okay. I guess we're doing all right. Yes? Maybe? I don't know. We'll see.
for now.
For now, we're doing okay. But anyways, on to the games that you guys played this week. How was everybody's week? What all did you guys play? Tiddly, let's start with you, bud.
Oh my goodness. Let's see. I got to Plat in Rivals, which was
Okay.
cool.
Nice.
All right.
It's been a really tough season in Rivals.
Yeah.
Like there's a dive meta, and then they just added a new flyer character
Okay.
who's technically a healer, but his ultimate is really high damage super. So it's just he's kind of a confusing character, but it does mean there's more of a proliferation of flying characters. So it's just a weird season. The ranks are really weird this season. I hit Plat pretty easily the last season, and this season it was definitely more of a grind, but it was really satisfying to get it. And now I've just been winning, so I'm coming off a pretty big winning streak, which is pretty fun. I've done a little bit of Destiny this week. Also trying to help people with ultimatum stuff, not like Dan does, like on a very limited basis. Mostly
Right.
people who I know who are strong arming me into doing so. I'm trying to think what else. Oh yeah, we also did we did a little bit of Overwatch Stadium on Thursday, and that was super fun.
Rev was
Oh my
telling me a little
goodness.
bit about that. Like,
Yeah.
there's one character that can just kind of like steamroll everyone else.
Well, you're familiar with Overwatch, correct?
Ish, like adjacent.
Ish.
Yes.
Okay, I mean it's a hero shooter kind of like
Yeah.
Rivals, right?
Mhm.
So
And
Stadium mode essentially is it's regular, but it's kind of like Mayhem in Destiny a little bit,
Mhm.
because everything is turned up to like the nth degree, and there's builds, so you can take attributes each round based on a currency system that you get, which is performance based. So you certainly can snowball based on that, right? So if you're playing really well, you can buy more attributes and you can snowball even harder.
Right.
But surprisingly, it feels fairly balanced, and there is the potential for coming back, unlike game modes in Destiny like Gambit, which you feel like you kind of can't come back in Gambit. But this one you absolutely can. So it's really fun. So you can have it basically means the characters are crazy. So when you say a character is steamrolling, I don't know which one you're referring to, because so many of them are crazy good. Like
Okay.
Reinhardt, you can tune him so he flies. Like
Oh.
Mercy can heal multiple people at the same time. Like I'm talking like crazy mayhem type stuff. So it's a little arcadey, but it's also ranked. So it's fun. It's competitive. It's goofy. It's fun. It's great to play with friends. I feel like it's the best thing that Overwatch has done recently. And everyone's like, "Oh, do you like Rivals or Overwatch better?" I'm like, I don't know. They feel different. Like Overwatch at its peak is probably better than Rivals in my opinion, but Overwatch is definitely not at its peak currently. And
Gotcha.
although Stadium is really fun, but So it's kind of like it's a really hard question to answer.
Mhm.
I mean, it's comparing oranges to oranges, but it's like they're different kinds of oranges or something
it's like a
that.
blood
So
orange
right.
versus your regular orange that you find on the street.
Right, or another type of citrus, like a grapefruit or something. I'm like, well, they're both good. I like them both,
Yeah.
but like they serve. Like I might crave one or the other at different time periods.
Yeah, the type of orange that you find on the street, it might be a little beaten up, but you can still peel it back, and it kind of tastes like a tire, right?
Yeah, there you go. And I guess does tabletop gaming count? Like I
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
a bunch of D&D this week. Recorded another podcast episode for Telltale Tavern, which Danfinity's been on also, which is a phenomenal D&D podcast that our friend Mega and Kyle they put it on. I think they release monthly, but I think there's two. There's a recurring that's I think they've just wrapped up the recurring. And then there's one shots that release monthly. So it's a phenomenal podcast. I totally recommend it for the promo. But we did a really fun one this week. So we did Rats versus Commoners. And which okay, you're laughing because you're kind of getting the idea, right? So you know how in D&D usually the DM gets like, pardon my French, but gets shit on essentially. Like every time because they play all of the bad guys. They play all of the the skeletons or like, the ogres, and they just get destroyed repeatedly. So in Rats versus Commoners, the players come in as commoners in a town that's trying to fight this giant rat infestation. And all the commoners you roll, and you have between 1 and 8 hit points. So essentially the way it goes is you go in, the rat bites you, you die. You bring in another character. That the rat like hits you with its tail, you die. You bring in another character. So it's actually so fun. I think we went through 30 characters in the entire episode. And it was an absolute blast. So basically it's kind of like it's a little like improv. So you're kind of trying to improv a new character on the spot. So anyway, it was incredibly fun. And then we did IRL D&D also on Friday, which was very fun. Our group has kind of gone off the rails a little bit because there's a library. You would appreciate this as somebody who works in a library, Dan. There's a locked room that's magically locked in our library, and we're trying to break into the locked room. And so there's so we've decided to seduce the guard in order to get into the library.
Okay.
And so we have our barbarian, who's this large dragonborn, who's trying to seduce this like giant, half giant, who's the guard. And so we have a romance plot in the inn, and then we have a heist plot in the library going on simultaneously. It's actually so much fun right now. And honestly, we spent like an hour and a half planning the date and like no time planning the heist. So it's going exactly as you would expect.
There is, so I want to say in the third series from Critical Role, there's something along the same lines that happens, and it is very much they spend more time dealing with like the details of a date with an ogre. and like what they're going to do instead.
Oh my gosh, it's turning into like a telenovela now because I'm in the tavern in the kitchen watching the date, making sure it's gonna go well because so obviously it's a setup, right? So the person in our party is not like actually interested in this person, and the guard is actually interested in our like dragonborn character, and so I'm there to break it up. And so at the end of the episode, like I like bust through the kitchen doors, and I'm like I like profess my love for the guard. I'm like just trying to I'm trying to save my friend from like an uncomfortable date situation, and I'm like, no, I'm the one who's in love with you, and he's like, I'm not into women. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. Anyway, it's very funny. We're having a good time. So.
Fantastic.
Anyway, there you go.
Fantastic. Epic Dan, what about you, bud? What have you been playing?
I don't think my gaming has been as eventful as Tiddly's. sadly, you know. But I have been spending too many hours playing Elden Ring Night Raid this
Heck yeah.
week.
Nice.
This is like my last week and this week is like my final like sabbatical from
Mhm.
Destiny before like Edge of Fate. So like I know I did all the weeks of Ultimatum helps, and I was like, okay, when Night Ring comes out, I'm just gonna take my next break
Mhm.
and just dive heavily into that. So I've been spending a lot of time playing that, and then I recently started playing finally through Doom: The Dark Ages. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna be playing through that over the coming week, and then obviously next week I'll be like, okay, let's start ramping back up in Destiny. But that's pretty much all I've been playing, which is sadly not as eventful as Tiddly. I think I need to ramp up what I'm doing throughout the week.
So Dan, are you going to be doing helps for all of the ultimatums when they're all out
When they're all
this
out,
Tuesday,
yeah.
right?
Tuesday, yeah.
So I don't think I'm gonna
Yeah.
do it this coming week.
Okay,
Mhm.
it's a little more break.
I think because I wanted to. I personally thought that they were gonna just once they had them all available, they were
Mhm.
gonna just keep them all available. But apparently, based off last week's TWID, all of them are gonna be available, but only a specific one will have like the weekly. There'll still be like one weekly ultimatum. I'm not really sure how that's going to work.
So
Oh,
not all the
okay.
ultimatums are offered all the time.
I think they'll all be available, but there'll be only one that lets you get like the increased drops, something like that. I think like
Oh,
that,
okay.
like
Oh,
increased
okay.
drops. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I think this coming up week is the only week that all three of them will have all the increased drops. So I don't know. I don't know if I can get through Doom: The Dark Ages that quickly. I chose to play on a much harder difficulty than I expected because historically, I will say this real quick. Historically, if you played the last couple of Dooms,
Mhm.
they have like 12,000 difficulties. So many difficulties. That's like too many. And unfortunately, I have a thing with my chat where I'm always picking the hardest difficulty. They like to see me struggle. I like to see me
course.
struggle.
Mhm.
Then I finally get
Yeah.
through it, and it's satisfying. Unfortunately, with Doom 2016, when it came out, 2021 or 2020, whenever the Eternal one came out, those games are incredibly difficult when you play them on max difficulty, and you get stuck. Almost like there's multiple. There's one level. There might be 4 checkpoints.
Mhm.
And each checkpoint is like I'm crawling to the next checkpoint. Like just let me get a little bit closer to the next little area. And this one has even more difficulties. So
Mhm.
I don't pick the hardest difficulty because the hardest difficulty is really, really hard. But the moment you die, you have to start the entire game over. And I
Mhm.
said, I cannot do that. I will never get through this game.
Right.
So I'll pick that same difficulty without the whole your save gets deleted. Terrible decision. There's a level in Doom
Mhm.
that it doesn't become enjoyable anymore. And especially on your first playthrough, you're just once I put something on stream, I'm committed to getting to the
Right.
credits.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this was a terrible choice. So on this one, they added a new mechanic, which every game right now this year is adding a parry system.
Mhm.
So you have all that stuff, and now you got a parry.
Mhm.
And I didn't do any research on the game because I was like, okay, when it comes, I'm gonna play it. I don't need to learn about the game ahead of time. I like to go into the game not knowing too much, so I can have all that experience on stream. Blah blah blah. Wasn't a great idea this time. And I've only done one chapter. I just started. And I was like, okay, well, I won't pick this higher difficulty because I know what I'm getting myself into. I'll pick the second one down, which was still Ultra Nightmare or something like that. Didn't know that they had the parry system and didn't know that if you don't parry, you pretty much don't get through this game.
Yeah. This is a very heavy parry game.
It's a very heavy parry system. And I started getting fairly decent with Doom Eternal because all I knew that I had to do was I had to be Twitch reactions. I had to move really fast, and I had to do the whole gameplay loop of finishing enemies to get my health back.
Yeah.
And now I'm having to relearn that entire system
Mm-hmm.
because in order to get my health back, I have to really push into the parry part of it.
Right.
So we'll see how I feel next week. Come back to me next week.
Yeah.
Maybe I will have to go on a Dungeons and Dating app instead of this. You know.
There's so apparently there's a game from one of the crit roll folks that's coming out this year. I think it's called Date Anything. And it is a dating sim. It is a dating sim in which you date household objects.
What?
Yeah. Just look it up. Just look it up. It actually seems interesting.
You know,
Date anything.
Mm-hmm.
When you say household objects.
Yeah. Oh, it's date. Is it date? Could it be date everything? Maybe.
Yeah. Date everything. They're
what are we considering
anthropomorphized. They're anthropomorphized.
Object?
They have personalities. They look like people.
Sure, that makes it a lot better.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow, your
have you ever wanted to date your
mighty
iron?
Spicy today.
What about your coffee maker? You ever like shot a loving glance at your coffee maker? No,
never.
Okay.
No.
Well, I mean, in this game you do.
You know.
That sounds hilarious, though. It really does. It sounds like Dream Daddy or whatever that was.
It's very much in that line.
In that vein. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if there's a demo. There might be a demo available for it on.
Is this safe for stream though?
I believe
That's
so.
What I'm
yeah.
curious about.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's. I don't think you're going to run into those issues, buddy. I could be wrong, but I think you're okay. I know.
I can't think of. I'm just.
You
went a little too far with the toaster. And
there's a demo.
TOS.
There's a demo. There's a demo now. So yeah, you know what? I'll play it this week. I'll test the waters for all of us. I'll play it this week. All right. That way,
when the microwave and the toaster want to have a quick talk in the corner.
Yeah.
Do you accept? Yes or no?
the only relationship, the only poly relationship I wouldn't want to get involved with is the toaster in the bathtub. I played this week.
Well, that's such an electric
slightly
relationship.
Electric, yes. Yes.
I played this week. I played Absalom, which is a high fantasy beat 'em up roguelike game. I believe it's from the same people who did like the remakes of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles beat 'em up and like the sequel. I think they also are doing I think they're also doing the new Scott Pilgrim game.
I can't wait.
Yeah, like that game. This game was beautiful. I was blown away by the artwork for it because it looks like it was all hand animated.
Yeah.
Just really, really cool. Absalom was good. Baby Steps, I talked to you guys a little bit before. It's from one of the creators behind Getting Over It, with I think Derek Foddy is the creator. He's one of the creators on this.
That was a crazy game.
Yeah, you're a man who is in a onesie, and you have
valid.
Very valid. You have to independently control the legs, like your feet and legs, to get up mountains and to go over different obstacles in your path. You also have to keep your balance and everything. The demo was short and incredibly frustrating in some parts.
They did not have to make this man so thick.
Dude, yeah. Somebody came in and was like, "Why is he all cheeked up like that?" Like,
what is this?
Yeah. He's got buns of steel, dude. He's got buns of steel. It's really, really funny. I believe I likened it to Thank Goodness You're Here. That style of comedy.
Okay.
It's very, very good. I would I don't know when it's coming out. There's already a 3-minute speed run of this thing.
Right, Dan? You like what?
Dang,
I mean, forget the toaster. I want to date that guy.
Jesus. He can't get up no mountain with them things.
And his feet seem like super small in comparison to the rest of his body too.
My Lord.
It's crazy.
That's hilarious, actually.
But I also played Ball Pit, which is a ball breaker roguelike game that has a village, like a town builder built into it, like in the in between. That one was all right. It wasn't my favorite, but like I did spend a lot of time trying to get through that block.
Okay.
With that, the baby steps demo I think was like 20 minutes on stream or something like that. It wasn't long at all. The ball pit one took a little bit longer. The highlight of my night though, outside of Absalom and Baby Steps, was Moonlighter 2. They're making a sequel to Moonlighter. That's a game that came out like 7 years ago, and it's basically the entire thing behind it was, you're the shopkeeper in the town that Zelda or that Link comes from, right? So like people come and they buy things from you. It's the capitalism simulator. We talked about this.
Oh, you love those.
Yeah,
we talked about that. You love those.
Okay.
I loved Moonlighter, and you go into the dungeon, you get stuff, then you sell it by day, and that loop was like really interesting in Moonlighter. Moonlighter 2 adds even more like really in-depth mechanics for not only the dungeons but also the selling. They made it in UE Engine 5 too, so it's like it's beautiful. It's a really beautiful game. And I'm looking forward to playing the rest of it when I get a shot, because it was really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
man. I don't know why. Like, I dislike capitalism a lot, but I also really like capitalism simulators.
Yeah, we know.
I
we
don't know.
noticed.
I don't know why.
I don't know. Maybe because it's safe capitalism. It's not. It's
it's not
not harming. It's not
Control
harming
this
anyone
capitalism.
except for.
It's not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
It's just as long as they don't link it up to a Bitcoin of some kind, I think it'll be okay. As far as Destiny, I haven't really played much Destiny. And like next week, I'm not planning on playing much either. FBC Firebreak comes out on Tuesday, and yeah, I've now committed.
This
to
is the
playing.
time for you to take your breaks. I had someone ask me the other day why I wasn't playing. I was like, Edge of Fate is in 4.5 weeks.
Cannot believe it's coming up. That's crazy.
You're gonna see me playing this game way too much. So I'm trying. Like, I learned years ago, like, only reason someone should be playing, I hate to say this, should be playing Destiny right now is to catch up.
Yes.
On stuff that maybe they missed throughout the year. This is your perfect time. Nothing else is really happening. You're not losing FOMO and all that stuff. Just, use that time to catch up. And also spend some time playing some of the games you might have missed over the past year. Go back and play Baldur's Gate 3 if you never played it, or Metaphor.
Absolutely.
Or whatever other game you heard everyone talking about, but you was so locked into Destiny, you didn't take some time to play it. So, play that now, and, there's nothing wrong with taking a break, because you're all going to see us yapping heavily about Destiny in a couple weeks. So,
yes.
Absolutely. So true. No, I've been doing a lot of catch-up help, actually. Like, people are like, oh, I want to get this title, So it's not necessarily stuff that I need even now. It's just like, people are like, oh, yeah, I need to get this done. You want to hop in for this? I'm like, okay.
Oh, we did that, Low Man of Salvation.
Oh, yeah, that was so fun.
Yeah.
That was so fun. We did the quad salvations, which apparently is the lowest you can run it. So you can do specific encounters trio, but you can't do the entire thing.
Can't do anymore. Yeah.
Verities is only 4 people. So, but that was a fun team. I had a great time.
It felt like a solo for me.
Because Dan ended up being on the outside of Verity every time, the time that we completed it.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And so Dan was basically soloing the outside, which was pretty fun. Like,
it is fun out there by yourself.
It was fun. Like, the dissection was fun. It was, and the Unstoppables are fun. It was just the bats, like the heckin' bats. Being alone out there with the bats was a lot.
That was the one encounter that, like, I was like, chill. I was like, okay, this is chill. And then once we got there, I was like, okay, I gotta actually lock in. I'm out here by myself, And so, like, multiple times I had to mess up with Tiddly's ghost, and I just started just saying stuff so I could have someone just relay the actual information, because I had a billion bats outside, and I'm like, okay, if I mess up one of these dissections, they don't get out. So, like, I had multiple times that I'm like, okay, I have to dissect this. dissect that. I have to make sure I do this next.
Mm-hmm.
Let me not do this. I don't know what ghost
Yeah,
is. I'm
you
just gonna
were-
say
you
a
were
ghost over and
mentally
over until
locked
so
in.
someone else tells me
Yeah.
what this is. And I was like, that's a ton of fun, but like I wasn't prepared to be locked in right now.
Yeah, and it's
Please,
crazy.
somebody else stay outside.
It's crazy how easy the boss is compared to Verity.
Yeah.
I feel like Verity was probably the most difficult. Not for me, for Dan, but like, you know, because I get to chill inside.
Yeah.
But Dan, so sorry. You did so good.
And it's
You
funny
did
because
so good.
the first time when we first got there, we almost did it first or second try.
Yes.
And I had
Mhm.
not been, I was inside all 3 times. And then we just ran out of time once. And I was like, oh, this is easy. I could just chill inside.
Yeah.
And then the
yeah.
one time
You
we finally
thought-
did it, I'm like, I just got to be out here the 100% of the time.
Yeah, that worked out though. That we got our clear. So it's pretty cool.
Sounds
It's a
great.
fun one. Yeah.
But I think that that's like I agree with you, Dan, in terms of people are catching up on other games right now,
Mhm.
or enjoying other stuff, or catching up on Destiny. But I think that also now is a really wonderful time for the low man community, because I feel like
Mhm.
that's
That
where
too. Mhm.
that's where the low man community shines, is when they run out of stuff to do, and then they're like, well, what can we do with less
Yeah.
people or faster? And so it's been actually a gold mine for me as somebody who likes watching that kind of stuff on Twitch, because I've just been really enjoying, like, people are doing like solo Prophecy Ultimatum, like who knows what they're
Yep.
gonna do when they're all out on Tuesday. But it's just been a lot of fun to watch people attempt some really difficult stuff right now. So
I have a few that I have to go back and do that I've been very lazy this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm going to do it later. I'm going to do it later. I'm going to do it later.
I'll do it in the
And
last
I'm
4
like,
weeks.
I got a month. All right, so let me
yeah,
make
you're
sure I
like,
write
well,
these
now
things
is
down.
later.
And I got to actually do this stuff before it goes away. So it's going to be an interesting last month for me.
What are some
I'm
of
going
the
to try
what do
to
you
do
got?
these things on top of that. So I never
What's
did
on your
my.
list?
I am behind on a couple of my solo flosses for this year.
Okay.
I just chose not to.
Right.
'Cause I
Dungeons
was like, you know
or-
what? Yeah, the dungeons.
Oh, really?
So I just
like the
chose
2
not
new ones,
to.
or
Yeah.
yeah,
Because I
yeah.
chose to do all the contest helps instead and just do helps of the dungeons and all
Yeah.
that.
Sure heard,
I was
yeah.
like, I'll get around to it. I got it until July. It ain't going nowhere. I'll do it
and
later.
it's June. It's
And
almost July. Oh my god.
So now I'm like, uh-oh. And then I want to go back and run a couple of the low mans of the raids that I haven't done in a long time just to see how they are again before. Because I wanted to make a video on how they look now
Sure.
Versus.
of some of like the low mans versus how they probably will look when the entire sandbox changes
Mhm.
That'd be interesting.
after Edge of Fate.
Yeah.
Because this is probably for some of the dungeons and some of the raids. This is a very free time to do them if you are missing or if you wanted to get into any low mans. This is
The artifact is so good
Yeah,
right
Artifact
now.
is so
Honestly,
good. Mhm.
it's really, really strong. So
And we're in a really
completely agree.
good meta or era.
Good
So, like,
meta.
all the weapons are really good. You can Lord of Wolves anything close. You can Queen Break anything from far. And that's pretty much going to be
It's-
what you use.
Yeah, it's good. Sure.
So it's I am not ready for it. I should not have put off stuff for as long as I have, but you know what?
I'm excited. You're just gonna go
Here
one try everything. It's gonna be so easy.
I hope I do.
Yeah, I still haven't like low manned anything. I might have to like schedule some time with you guys. Just
Dude, I
show me the
will
ropes.
totally help. I got you.
Let's do it.
All right, yeah, that would be fun.
Trio
down to do-
Witness is the freest thing. Like Trio Witness and Trio Ron.
Oh my god, we can literally log on after this in Trio Witness
Mm-hmm.
for sure. If you wanted to, actually, I feel like all of the bosses. I think the only one that was a little annoying was Bog, because you have to have the floater person, right?
That's the only one I have not. I did my duo Atheons like the
Mhm.
couple of times I did it. Back when you
Nice.
could finish your glitch.
Oh, so you didn't have to do the floating thing.
Well,
Oh.
so back then you just did the finisher glitch when the first season came
Yeah.
out, and then when I did solo Atheon, all you had to do the Wither Horde thing, where you would finish your glitch and at the same time shoot Wither Horde, and then the Wither Horde would have to stick to the Hydra and stuff like that. But apparently now it's this whole. I think you were saying heat rises, you float out of the map and
Yes.
stuff, and you just
Yeah.
wait. I feel like that makes it easier. Maybe not easier, but like not having to time like a finisher or missing wither horde sticks should make it a little bit more tolerable and consistent. And damage is free. I'm assuming it's just Lord of Wolves now.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm assuming. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't done that one as a duo yet. So
That one's fun.
Oh yeah, DSC was also a little annoying because of timing. But honestly, we could. Yeah, I thought so. Just on like the.
I would tonight.
What would the strat be for that now?
Maybe you should try it. The DSC one now. Yeah.
I would try it tonight, but I've got to get an episode out.
Oh, understandable. All good.
What do you mean? That thing's going to take 10 minutes now. You're in it.
It's going to take 10 minutes to upload. I guess it's still got to go through and make sure that all the audio and everything sounds legit.
Whatever. Our episode is perfect. The only thing you have to edit out is when you did twitch.tv/Danfinity at the very beginning.
Now I got to edit this out. That's another thing. I got to edit out now. Without...
Oh, am I not allowed to talk about what you're editing out because that has to get edited out too?
Guys, I'm editing out this entire episode. This is going to be a lost episode. We'll never see the light.
This is in the lost tapes. This is in the lost tapes.
You're witnessing something special, folks.
He's like, well, now I can't edit it out. Now I have to edit that out too.
It's now part of the thing. I can't do nothing. Anyways.
Oh man. Okay.
Oh yeah, Claire Obscure. I know Beverage was saying Claire Obscure. Did you ever finish Claire Obscure?
No, I haven't finished that yet. Like I've found myself just hopping into stuff, and like with the demo derby, that was something that was like, these are nice little bite-sized experiences. I can just go and do those like over the course of a night and have my experiences with them, and then that's pretty much it. I'm finding it hard.
Is there any game coming up that you're already locked in on, or are you still like focusing on your demos?
Well,
out of curiosity,
I want to play FBC Firebreak. That one is the one that I've been most looking forward to. I love the Control universe. I love Remedy games, and like having a first-person shooter. Within that.
Remedy is Alan Wake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they also do. They also did Control. They also did. I believe there was one that was. There was another series. That was like. Something with the guy who played like Iceman in the X-Men movies.
Quantum Break.
Yeah, Quantum Break. There you go.
Yeah.
So that's all. Like all of that is now in the same universe. Of games. So like Remedy's building something like really cool, and I'm here for it.
I've been sleeping on that. Maybe I need to catch up.
Yeah, dude, definitely check that out. If you've never played, have you guys played Control?
No.
Okay. All right.
So like I remember when Control came out, I was like, I remember when Alan Wake came out, I was like, Yeah. And when Alan Wake 2 came out, I was like, But apparently I should be being like,
Alan Wake is much more Alan Wake is much more like survival horror-ish. I'm not a huge fan of the first game, but the second game is really solid. Because you're not only playing as Alan Wake, but you're also playing as another FBI agent who's kind of like who's Control adjacent. Like you run into people from the Control game in Alan Wake 2.
Oh, that's kind of cool. So they kind of like
it starts
intersecting lore.
Yeah, it starts all coming together, and like in Control, you're able to pick up dossiers that have stories about characters in Alan Wake. There's also one of my favorite short stories in there is about a guy who starts worshiping a toaster because it claims it's God.
Okay, what is it with you and toasters tonight?
Listen here.
I mean, come on.
It was you guys that brought up the toasters, and then it was Chad that brought up the toasters. I'm just yes-anding like a good good improviser. I'm yes-anding. I made that one joke about the toaster, and then like it just so happened that this tied into the toaster. So
Remedy made Max Payne?
Yeah.
See, I played Max Payne 1 and 2. Those are fantastic. You should have started with that.
Yeah, Sam Lake, the head of the studio, is the face of Max Payne in those games. So yeah. Play Control. Play Alan Wake. Those are good games. Especially Control. It's like a weird power fantasy. It's great. But yeah, I haven't played a lot of Destiny. I haven't been able to stick with stuff because of, like, I've only streamed like 3 times a week, and I have a very strict schedule for those 3 streams, and that's what it is. So
that's fair.
Maybe
Understandable.
next week. Maybe next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, like Rights of the Nine, it's not really grabbing me, but I'm kind of fine with that.
Have you seen? I hate to bring it up. I
Sure.
hate to bring up Twitter, and I hate to bring up Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Rights of the Nine, and it's really piggybacking off of what you said, it seems that I remember when it first came out, we talked about our initial impressions. It seems that the community has 180'd on Rights of the Nine.
Yeah.
I know we talked about last week with Scaro about how it seems that, unfortunately, we were comparing it to Pantheon, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And how now people, I hate to have looked, but it seems that the majority of the community is like, don't ever bring this back.
Really?
There was that big video from Rick Kakis talking about it and stuff like that. And I find it interesting that, like, I don't think it was a terrible event.
No. Like,
but it's just interesting that, like, everyone's now saying that there's no reason to play it and how it wasn't really, but honestly, just good. I don't agree, but
why?
Yeah.
So the reason, from what I can gather, is that it's very odd that so many people think that the updates weren't enough. Like, a lot of people feel like just updating the loot pool, updating the activities, putting it in a new space, and all that stuff apparently isn't what they wanted. And at the same time, like, I don't know what you wanted then. Like, I don't know how much more you wanted them to do.
Did you not want a video game?
Did you not want a video game? It's just odd.
Isn't that what Pantheon was though? Like, how much? I feel like Pantheon changed the raid bosses to a similar extent.
Yeah.
That Ultimatum, Raid of the Nine did. The only difference is they're mishmashed together. Like, what is that? What people want? Would they be happier if they just took the dungeon encounters and then just squished them all together and just do all the dungeon bosses in a row? Because maybe, I don't know. But also, I don't feel like the Pantheon loot was good. Like, literally everyone.
It was good in Pantheon.
It was not
good.
It was
heavy in FOMO. It was FOMO.
It was absolutely title FOMO. That was the only reason you were running it. Was activity is really difficult. The title is really cool. It's gonna be really limited. You really want to get this. If anything, the biggest differences between the two are that, like, the way it's structured, right? That they're not all mashed together.
Yeah.
And then also having a longer period of time, right, to complete Right of the Nine. Is that part of the problem? There's less FOMO because, like, there's more time to do it. Maybe
because you're probably right in the sense of Pantheon was similar to Rise of the Nine, but crunched down with a lot less time. And I do wonder if Rise of the Nine had released with 1 a week, was like first dungeon, second dungeon, third dungeon.
Yeah.
Like staggered, or I guess added or whatever. And then you have, say, 4 weeks to complete it all. Maybe that would have, because it seems almost like fatigue has set into the community, which it always does. Every year they always get to this point.
Sure.
I just find it interesting that, like, almost in a week.
The flip on how people feel about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
my point is that, like, so the way that I feel about it is, like, I'm not engaging as heavily with it, not only just because I don't have time. There's no weapons from it that I really, really want. There's no, like, I'm fine with all the changes that they made to the encounters and everything. I actually like Prophecy's changes a lot. I think that, like, each change that they made helped improve its longevity, if anything, like, in the game. I don't know, man. Like, with Rights of the Nine, I'm just like, I'm not engaged with it the same way. I'm not going necessarily after the Eternal title on purpose. If I get it, like, I get it. We'll figure it out from there. But
so were you engaged heavily in Pantheon just to compare?
Yes, I was. I was engaged throughout throughout Into the Light. I really enjoyed that stretch. And because I also think that it was neat that we're getting this free thing leading into the finale of the Light and Dark saga. I think that drove some of that. It also
there's a lot of hype.
There was also weapons that they were bringing back and making special versions of.
I wonder if that's why. Yeah.
And
because we had a lot of new or
reprised weapons,
crowd favorites from years ago. It wasn't. We had Mountaintop, obviously. We had Hammerhead. We had a lot of the favorites from the previous years. I only asked that because I don't feel a certain way about Rise of the Nine. Some people clearly are starting to vocally, voice their opinions on, which they have 100% have the right to. I just find it interesting because unless I'm not in these circles, it seems to be coming out of left field. Just Sunday morning, Saturday night, boom. I don't like the Rise of the Nine. I don't like Rise of the Nine. We shouldn't have had Rise of the Nine.
And it's
Rise of the Nine. I was like, okay, wait a minute.
Tough too in a content creation field too, because people have to make videos and everything, but at a certain point, I think there is a horse or cart situation.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Was this a thing until someone made
it a thing?
Right.
Exactly.
They said the thing, and then other people were like, "Yeah,
they're well, that's my opinion."
Yeah, exactly. And,
I mean, we may be guilty of that also on this podcast,
fair.
but I mean,
we talked about it last week, and I asked Scarrow, and I was like, I literally asked him, "Do you feel that Rise of the Nine has succeeded in the way Pantheon had?" And even he said no, but he also specified that it didn't need to. It needed to do its own thing. It needed to update and all this stuff. And for what it was seeking to do, it succeeded. But the problem now is that since the community ourselves chose to compare it to Pantheon, there was almost no way it was going to compete. Since they didn't say this was Pantheon but Dungeon, we just said, "Oh, this is Pantheon but Dungeon."
Well, this is the context that we had for this event. It's I mean, I don't think it's an unfair comparison because Bungie themselves said they're going to try to put something out like this before big content releases. Right. So this is something that they've said. Yeah. So I think it absolutely was intended in the same vein as Pantheon. But I disagree that it wasn't as good as Pantheon. I mean, I feel nostalgic towards Pantheon. I feel like Pantheon was better for me, but I also like raids better than dungeons. I feel like
I think that's a big thing. Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe
there's
that's
no
part
way
of it.
a dungeon can be like a raid.
And
also,
I think. Go ahead, sorry.
It also there's also some sort of feeling of frivolity, almost of we're going to have all these huge sandbox updates and changes to the game coming with Edge of Fate, and having this come in with weapons that aren't necessarily going to translate into that sandbox and we don't know necessarily how what armor is going to translate over either, and so there's a lot of unknowns in the community, I guess, and that leads to this kind of being this is a nice little trifle, but it's not really.
Someone's just holding us over until
it's not pushing the ball down the field in any meaningful way.
So there's kind of a busy work aspect as the loot. Right. People are feeling kind of is the loot actually going to matter? Because we're getting a massive rework of armor and weapons, which may sunset, soft sunset a lot of this stuff. Are we grinding for stuff that just isn't going to matter at all?
If they were giving away tier 5 weapons as a soft
that would be sick. Can you imagine?
If they did that as a soft in this event, I think that would put this event over. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I
wonder if that's something that if that would be game breaking, if that's something that
I was gonna say, I feel like that's something that is in the code that hasn't been implemented yet.
Yeah. Right. But it's in terms of player base interest, I feel like that's just a phenomenal suggestion.
Yeah.
But
they could have done that for the armor too. If all the armor from this
get a brand new set.
Giving us the 200, giving us armor that was going to be this armor will 1-to-1 translate to the new armor if I want to.
Imagine.
Maybe.
Yeah. And
I only ask because I'm curious what everyone thinks. Because if this is their system for the coming years, I wanted to see it succeed as best as possible and hopefully
Sure.
give them some sort of feedback to like make it as good. It seems from my point of view that they're going to be doing every other year will be raised dungeons. If we're getting this kind of event at the end of the calendar, or not calendar year, at the expansion year, are they going to look at this and say, okay, well, because I know how they're going to do it. They're going to see the response and be like, well, let's just not touch dungeons at all.
Right.
And I don't want that at all to happen. And that's my worry.
Right. Like, we also have, Rev and I were talking about it a little bit. And there's like the last 2 weeks, there's the gauntlet mode, right? Where I think you have to
Right.
like beat all 3 dungeons in a row in order, like.
That's got to be where
to
you have
complete it.
Is that confirmed,
version.
or is that just like what people are postulating about the
think that
secret
was-
triumph?
Well, there's a triumph that's
Yeah,
been dated.
Right.
it's in Braid.
I know there. Oh, okay.
And it says completed back to back.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like,
You're like,
what do
what's
you mean
that gonna
back to
be?
back?
What do you mean back to back?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it.
So as of right now, we can't technically do it back
Do
to back
that? No.
unless
Right.
there's going to be a new node that launches as just that.
So yeah, the one that we're speaking on is running the gauntlet. It's currently available in the API. Completed dungeon gauntlet from beginning to end. It doesn't necessarily say what that is.
Mhm.
It just says dungeon gauntlet.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. It could be that they just suck all the bosses out of there and give you a Pantheon style thing. Like,
But we assume
for
that's
that?
ultimatum still?
I would assume that would be the ultimatum bosses. Like,
That would be so fun, actually. I'm hoping that's what it was. What I've heard people say that they think it is all
Mhm.
dungeons back to back, and you have to do like eternity or higher, so not
Right.
hard.
okay,
Like
yeah,
that's kind of what I've.
it
But
pro-
I
it
feel like people
probably
are
will
guessing
be.
about it.
Because of
Yeah.
it being like a time-based thing, I guess. But man,
yeah.
it probably is now that you mention it, because you technically, in order to get those emblems, you only have to do eternity.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe, dang.
I'm thinking. I while I would love all of the bosses back to back ultimatum difficulty,
Yeah.
I think it's more likely going to be eternity or higher
Gotcha.
back to back
You're
the entire
absolutely right.
dungeons.
Yep. I did not think of that. You're right. Yep. It'll be eternity.
GP says it's only the walking section of Ghosts of the Deep. That would
I'm
be
not
a
The
getting it
sure,
done.
walking section? You mean
No
the swimming
way.
section?
that would be the surefire way to get me to not play that content.
Oh, man.
Whatsoever. It's like, oh, it
Oh,
has
man.
this. No, thank you. I'm good.
It's not so
There's
bad.
a version of all the dungeons where all you're doing is
It's just all the
walking through
traversal.
methane.
Oh, it's the
Yeah,
Lord of the
that's-
Rings of dungeons. You're just
Oh man.
Ah.
No traversals.
You know, they
back
should
to
do
back.
that. If they had like the extra resources, they should do something like that for like April Fool's.
It would be a funny thing, but it would
I would
fit-
love that for
good
April
lord.
Fools.
Actually, I have to say I would love to watch speedrunners do that, because that's my favorite part of watching speedruns
More
is
movement
watching
tech
people.
stuff?
Oh yeah, the zooming.
Oh my
through
god, the
methane
traversal techs are
sections.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're gonna mountaintop and Eager's Edge Sword, and then here's a out of bounds skip, and here's
Right.
like, oh my god, I'm like, how do you know how to do this? This is crazy. I would actually, but I think it would be a meme. I don't think they could seriously release something like that, you know?
Yeah.
It'd be funny though, really funny.
Matt in chat says the good thing is we don't have the title FOMO. We can get the title without having to do the gauntlet if you've already got the 3 gold ultimatum triumphs already. So
Oh,
Interesting.
Does,
so then what
does
would
that
be the reason for
does that
doing
secret triumph replace one of the other
it?
triumphs? Is that what
maybe
you're
it's
saying,
like
Matt?
a 9 out of 10, but you have like a
Like,
says-
right, so they're like, we're making this title slightly easier to get. Is
Yeah.
that
it
what
says
you're
seal
saying,
progress
maybe?
9. So
You only 9 out of 10. Okay.
Apparently.
There's
I mean,
11
that's.
triumphs.
I should tell my husband he still needs to finish
Oh.
Ghosts.
No.
Be like,
So you
you're
got to
off
do
the
the
hook,
Ghost
honey.
ultimatum, so he has to do the rest of it. Yep.
Yeah.
that's fun.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. Good. Yeah, I don't know. Right of the 9. It's a thing. Like I really want to like it. But
Maybe
Yeah.
I'm just in a weird position because I've been in there for 100+ hours.
Right.
Maybe.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
fair.
I don't think is as bad as people are leading on. I don't think you have to like. There's no way for it to match up to Pantheon. It's a raid. It's a raid. There's nothing you can like compare it to.
Sure.
But for dungeons, I thought looking at it now we have all three. I was like, okay, this is neat. This wasn't a waste of my time type of thing, you know?
Right.
But I that's my little rant because I was just very surprised that like the community just 180'd on it.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, I don't know that Reddit or YouTube are like deeply indicative of player data. So I'm sure Bungie has like the actual numbers on participation and engagement, and that's probably what they're going to use for planning for future purposes. But I haven't heard negative stuff like that myself, and I've enjoyed it. So yeah, I do
say that they hope that they make that the normal dungeons. I hope that they can figure that out.
Yeah, there were some really excellent updates too. Yeah. Not just the ultimatum.
Adding mid bosses into travel areas was cool.
It was very cool.
The change in the cube room was good.
Yep. Only requiring 3 instead of 4 for the entrance on Ghost was really good. Yeah, it did feel like they took the opportunity to clean up some things they wish they could fix in retrospect, and that was kind of nice. It'd be really nice if they could introduce those changes into the normal dungeons. Also,
absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's that's a lot of talking about Rights of the Nine and everything. Let's talk a little bit more about it.
Glad that was on the agenda, right?
As we talk about,
Dan makes a really nice little agenda, and we're just like, we're gonna talk about whatever we want
to. Look, this is a podcast. That's what this is for. We're here for conversations and stuff.
I'm sorry, chat.
No, it said end with D2 experiences in the transition conversation. Chat, I'll show you the list later. But yeah, it's fine. Like, it was part of the games that we played this week. It's part of the conversations in Destiny 2.
We're on our second bullet point.
Exactly. Moving on to our third.
Time.
Moving on to our third. We have the Right of the Nine rewards update. So they're going to be going on a rotator again. We're finishing different ultimatums. It says, when the third dungeon completes rotation, we enter a new phase in Right of the Nine. Starting June 17th, all 3 dungeons will be available to play at any time. And during that very week, all 3 will have increased currency drops. After that, each dungeon will rotate weekly and have a week of increased rewards for those. So the 15th, you have 15th, we have completing all encounters in any of the Right of the Nine dungeon is a single run. Will award extra drops from the final boss. Completing all encounters in any Right of the Nine dungeon at Eternity or Ultimatum difficulty in a single run will award an armor piece. From June 17th through the 24th, we have increased currency drops. 24th through the July 8th, we see Spire the Watcher, Ghost of the Deep, and Prophecy rotate on that 3-week basis. And then starting June 24th, the Emissary will offer a handful of exotics for players looking to round out their exotic weapon arsenal. More will be added each week through the Edge of Fate launch. Oh, wait, through the Edge of Fate launch? So even post?
From what I read, it seems post, but I don't know how they're going to do that.
Yeah, that's interesting. From July 8th until July 15th, the Ludapalooza will begin.
Ludapalooza.
Increased currency rewards and weapon drops from enemies in all dungeons, and then even more increased loot from the final boss chest when completing all encounters. We already talked about that kind of rotation system. Starting on July 1st, a new item will be available at the Emissary, a Nonary Engram. This Engram is filled to the brim with hand-picked cosmetic rewards spanning multiple years of Destiny 2 content. Some are newer, like Hollow Chips, while some are a blast from the past, like Crimson Days emotes. So how do you earn these? Starting on July 1st, players may purchase Nonary Engrams using 350 Nonary Manifolds at the Emissary, up to 20 during Rights of the Nine. And then starting on July 8th, players will be awarded 1 additional Nonary Engram each day just for signing in. Just be sure to claim it from the Emissary. So with the Edge of Fate just around the corner, we're very excited to close out the Ride of 9 with a bang. See you there. That's cool. I'm glad that they're
That's cool.
adding like a cosmetic catch up in a way.
Yeah, catch up.
Like that's like 27.
Is it even a catch up if it's like stuff for probably players who have not played during that time? Seems kind of neat though.
I mean, like if
Because
they're
Crimson
offering
Days
just
hasn't been
colleges.
around since like
It's been a
2018.
minute.
Yeah.
It's been a minute
So
since
it's probably a
that's been out.
handful of players. Like say
Yeah.
a player that started playing Beyond Light,
Mm-hmm.
there was no way they could get that item.
Fair. Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool. I do
All right.
think that they're adding Trials of the Nine shaders in it.
I mean,
That
that
would be
make
cool.
sense.
That'd be cool.
And
What
it's
about
going to
Seth's
make-
pink shader? Do you think, Dan?
No.
You know what?
No, maybe.
No.
Yeah.
When did you buy that shader?
I think
It's been a minute. I mean, who knows? But that would be
Long
really
time
cool
ago.
because I know that she really wants that. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
maybe there's going to be some good cosmetic stuff in there.
I mean, and that feels like a system that they've done before, where they've been like, "Hey, you've earned this thing." Like you purchase an Ingram and you pick out one of the things from that
Mhm.
Ingram, right? Like,
they did that last year.
yeah,
The
that
Pantheon. So
makes perfect sense. Like, cool. I'm happy for the folks that affects. We also have, I'm going to scroll down here past all these videos. They're changing bounties. As with many of our yearly expansions, bounties will be receiving an update alongside the Edge of Fate. Many bounties, such as destination bounties, will continue to exist in their current form as a way for players to get XP while exploring the EDZ, Dreaming City, or other areas. Others, such as armor synthesis bounties at Ada 1, will receive a small update to help players earn progress across more activities in the portal. To help players avoid the XP, Glimmer, and other reward loss, we're providing a quick list of bounties that will be removed with Destiny 2 Update 9.0.0.1. We recommend redeeming all bounties before July 15th. Destination bounties, so the EDZ, Cosmodrome, Nessus, Dreaming City, Moon, Europa, Throne World, Neomuna, and Eternity bounties will be staying. And Eternity specifically being Zur and Starhorse. Clan bounties, so Soraya, Hawthorne, and then armor synthesis bounties from Ada 1, those will be sticking around. Leaving will be the Trials of Osiris bounties, Gunsmith bounties, and episodic vendor bounties. How do we feel about this going into the Edge of Fate?
I mean, I feel like they're generally going away from bounties. We talked about this before in a previous episode about Pathfinder replacing bounties, and just generally they're trying to get away from that type of grind.
Mm-hmm.
My other thought is it's probably a good thing to know if you're doing XP artifact prep for next season. So I hope people are paying attention if they're recording stuff.
Yep.
Are we? Because I know the argument for a while has been like, just get rid of bounties or like wipe them before.
That's been my position for a while.
Yeah, just wipe them before a
But
DLC.
I
or
also
season or
understand why
something.
they won't get rid of it because
Yeah.
if you don't play as much as I do, then bounties work. And at least from my point of view, I only bounty prep for the day one raid.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I have to because everyone else is.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I've always looked at like, man, I'd much rather be not handcuffed to the game for X amount of hours a week, just doing this parts of the game because I have to for X amount of weeks in the future. But I have to. Because if I want to be on equal playing field, I want to make sure I have all the stuff to complete the day one raid, I have to. So I would much rather a system that I didn't have to do that, but I mean, I won't get rid of them.
It's very much less important now than it used to be because contest raid used to be decided based on preparation over a lot of other things, like in terms of what level you could get to, and there was an RNG component to it. And I just remember the teams that did very, very well on damage checks were the ones that were able to all prepare very, very well. So there was this not like necessarily unfair is probably a bad way to characterize it, but like this kind of like differentiation between the teams. It wasn't necessarily even skill. It was like there was definitely a skill component, but it was skill plus time for preparation, and that seemed slightly unfair. And I definitely think I feel like that's been adjusted a lot. I think that a lot of people could go in and say, okay, well, what does the XP really help me with now? It helps me with maybe last column artifact, you know,
That's
and
really the only
then
reason I would do it is
yeah,
for that last column, because
last
there's
column
a
artifact.
big
There's
difference
yes,
in like
agreed.
a team that has it and doesn't. But again, like you said, a
It's
team
so
that doesn't have it could just not need it and still clear.
yeah, for sure. I just feel like the difference in prep requirement now compared to like Last Wish or like DSC or like all these other like I just feel like it's so much
It's not nearly as
easier to
bad.
just hop in and just be like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna try it without the artifact last column. And even like with bounty prep, I feel like you can get to like the third column just by storing bounties. Like it just doesn't
Right.
feel like the same as it used to, which I feel like is nice.
No.
I feel like it's really nice. People are going in more even footing. I think that's really good. Less grinding prep and it's more fair, I think. But yeah.
I would say, if anything, and this is not probably the way to think of it, I would say bounty prepping and getting as much of the artifact done early makes up for player mistakes more in the contest, right?
Okay.
Because there's a lot of times like I'm trying to think of one that was like super unique. I'll just say Salvation's Edge. Salvation's Edge had like the second encounter and the last encounter on contest mode. You could like do it without everyone having the artifact, but sometimes the artifact can help pull that person up.
Yep.
Just to get over the hump.
Yep.
But you could also do it without it if everyone was perfect. But the odds of everyone being perfect all at the same time on the same run. So you can always just be better. It's tough. I don't plan. I've only prepped 1.5 pages each character, and I'm like, you know what? That's gonna be enough.
You're like, that's good enough. Whatever.
That's good enough.
I like how you say only, and I prepped like one bounty.
I did Europa for a week. I did a couple clan. I did all the planets, and I was like, I can't do this again 4 more times. I'm gonna hate the game before I even get to play Edge of Fate. So,
yeah,
you know
well, like you said before, I feel like if you burn yourself out on bounty prep before the new content comes out, oh, that's just not a great place to start a new season. You know?
Well,
that's where I was last year. I played through all of the Into the Light stuff. I ground out bounties and everything right before Final Shape, and then with the anticipation of making a whole bunch of stuff for Final Shape out the gate, and then I was just so burnt out that I was just like, I'm just gonna play this by myself.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I definitely feel like we're in that period of time where everyone is feeling very burnt out and like also kind of asking themselves the question of, you know, am I going to continue playing this game when the new content comes out? You know, like the armor grind systems, it sounds, or like trying to refresh the loot pool more frequently with the guns. Like, is the grind going to be so onerous that people are just like, yeah, I'm good. I'm moved on, you know? So I think it is a critical time, but yeah, we're just vibing. It's definitely like the downtime right now.
Yeah.
I will say I've moved away from my stance though, because I used to feel that way, but now I'm like, you know what? If they want to keep bounties, so be it. So
you're not angry at the bounties anymore?
No.
You understand why they exist.
And there's enough people who's like, I work 2 jobs and XYZ. I need these, but you know, fair enough. Fair enough. You can keep them. So hey, as long as you know which ones are staying and going,
100%.
I'm fine with them.
Gear experts with new duties. So Ada1, one of the greatest fashion vendors, is getting new duties with Edge of Fate launches. Don't worry.
You said duty.
I did say duty. I said it. I've said it again. Don't worry. She will keep bounties available so players can earn the necessary materials to unlock armor customization currencies, but they have been simplified, removing activity-specific requirements and introducing flexible, activity-agnostic objectives for optional pathways and progression modifiers. With one exception, raid and dungeon bounties will remain as they are right now. Ada 1 will also provide a way for players to focus exotic armors at the launch of Edge of Fate. As we announced last week, players will be given an amount of currency to focus armor pieces with a specific stat package as they embark on the new journey in the Year of Prophecy. So a special note saying that players must play Destiny 2 before July 15th to receive these currencies and to hop in to start getting ready for launch. Good changes there. Like I
Really
like
good, yeah.
I like the activity agnostic objectives. I like that we're going to be able to focus some armor for specific slots. That's good.
Yeah, for sure.
Solid stuff.
Question regarding
Sure.
the armor. Did anyone go ahead and delete all their armor before they started telling us about it? I know. Well, I actually don't. Dan doesn't have any armor. Let's just start there.
I mean, I
He
have
doesn't have a
armor.
lot of stuff.
I have
That's
armor,
for Tiddly.
but I didn't delete. Like I've been deleting under 65 stuff and keeping the rest.
Under 65.
Yeah,
I was the opposite. I had a whole bunch of like spiky armor.
yeah.
And
So you're making that bet. Okay.
and then I already did it, so
Yeah.
I'm screwed. But this was like 3 weeks ago.
yeah.
You're like, I don't need this.
And I was like, listen, what am I?
What am I holding on to
As I was
this for?
deleting, I was telling chat, listen, chat. In a month, I'm not gonna use this armor anyway. All this spiky, double 30s, like, I'm not gonna need it. It's not gonna carry it. I
Double
deleted it all.
Are you crazy? Oh man.
And then I read a tweet, they're like, you can keep it. And I was like, oh.
Oh, not if you delete it, you can't keep
Not
it,
if I
Dan.
delete it.
Nope.
Oh, cool. I'm the only one. Good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I honestly, it's a byproduct of having so much vault space, which, I mean, I'm probably the only guardian who doesn't want this much vault space, but you
Wait,
know,
how
like,
much vault space do you have?
Well, I mean, like just overall total.
Just on average.
I mean, I
Are
will
you never overflowing?
No, I'm always overflowing, but I feel I probably definitely blame the vault space and not my own hoarding because it's the game's fault for giving me this
That's
much
right,
room.
it's the game's fault.
And if there wasn't this much room, I wouldn't hoard this much. But I honestly will hoard up to whatever capacity they will give me. So it's a me problem probably. But yeah, I have my armor.
That's
I'm
me.
not
I
gonna
only
do it.
deleted stuff because I was doing all the rest of the 9. And I was at
Yeah.
699 out of 700. And chat was like, just delete some stuff. And I was like, you know what?
Sure.
Yeah.
All this armor's going
Let's
away.
do
I have
it.
150 slots of armor.
You
that I've just
already
been
told
sitting.
us, Dan, they like to
Yeah.
watch you suffer. Why
Yeah,
are you
you know
still
what?
listening to them?
I mean, that's
I don't
that's just chat in general, though. Like, I think that's a
true.
good.
But what
route
makes it worse,
for
it
chat.
was the night before the tweet came out, and them saying like, "Keep
Yeah.
it." And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah. Update on my vault. I have 239 pieces in my vault right now. I went through and I purged a whole bunch of stuff.
Triple
So-
that for mine.
I mean, I'm gonna be right. I'm gonna be honest. I'm at 650,
Yeah.
and
That
I had
sounds about
more.
right. Yeah,
I had more a couple days ago.
that's my
But like,
neighborhood.
what I do the Dan thing where I just throw all the stuff that I've been grinding in my vault. We
Yeah.
just did
Farming mode.
Yeah, for sure. We just did the VOG a few weeks ago for
Mhm.
the rocket, and so I had a whole bunch of.
Wait, how would
peasants in
farming
there.
mode work if you're already maxed out?
Oh, it doesn't.
It
Update.
struggles.
Yeah.
You see a
So
lot
my
of the
issue is
spinning-
I'll be at 699, then my postmaster would be at a 20 out of 21. My other postmaster would be at 20 out of 21.
Yep. You just don't
I
get
can't
any more
do farming
loot.
mode because where does it go?
You just don't
Yeah,
get any
the real
more.
solution is to play other games, Dan. That's
Yeah.
the real
And that's what I've
solution.
been
And that
doing.
that way you don't overfill your vault. Go.
Yeah, but that the expert duties. The gunsmith Banshee 44 will also receive an update so that he can help Guardians round out their collections with legacy gear. If there are any legacy weapons that you've been looking for to complete your arsenal, you are a new player in need of some initial gear, or you are simply looking for a handful of weapons to start with the Edge of Fate with desirable perk rolls, Banshee will offer legacy weapons for purchase. All of these will cost a small amount of enhancement cores in Glimmer. That's cool. There's also they're also getting Gunsmith is also getting the weapons week, right? The
Arms week.
arms week, yeah. So that's a good change. Like, there's still a role for Banshee 44 in the tower.
Yeah.
The
It's
shooting,
they're just updating all that stuff though. So whatever they do, cool. I'm
Yeah.
glad that they're getting
Yeah.
something to give them to do. Now do something with Ikora.
exactly. Shooting range will be available on day one. They had said that would be available some weeks later afterward, but now you're going to be able to test everything out on day one in Edge of
Good
Fate. That's cool.
change.
How many hours do you think Fallout's going to end up spending in there before actually being able to touch any of the content?
I mean, you got to make the YouTube videos. So, I mean, they should just put little plaques on the wall for the YouTube.
That thing's gonna get so much use from the community.
Yeah.
Like so much use from
It's
every
great.
skill level.
There's a community need for it. I think it's such a
Yep.
great quality of life update. Very exciting.
Iron Banner in the Edge of Fate. So when the Edge of Fate launches on July 15th, Iron Banner will be on hiatus for a time. After centuries of nonstop work, Saladin will be taking a well-deserved break and will return with his PvP game mode to the tower in September when the Ash and Iron major update arrives. Those looking to scratch the Crucible itch will have a variety of game modes available. Heavy Metal will be coming back as a future event. Starting on July 29th, Trials of Osiris will have new weapons and armor to earn all the way through every weekend through September. They'll have more updates in the TWID for PvP playlists, including a new playlist coming on week 1 of Edge of Fate, Cutting Edge, which will allow only featured seasonal weapons, armor, and exotics to be used against your opponents. This will provide a fun space not only to focus on newer gear, but to focus up on the meta in some ways. We're excited to see which weapons rise to the top and what builds players come up with outside of the tried and true exotic pairings that we see commonly today. First of all, after that, thoughts on Iron Banner kind of like taking a hiatus. Are you guys fine with it?
Yeah, that's totally fine. I don't think you can miss something unless it leaves. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
be
I'm
gone.
fine with it.
Be gone and return, and people will be excited to see it come back.
Yeah. It feels like we get it a lot.
We do, and more frequently than we used to. So I think it's
Way
okay
more
to miss it a
frequent.
little bit. Yeah, it's okay to
Mhm.
miss it a little bit. I feel the same way about trials too. I'm like, give people, like, make it more event like and have it be less frequent. But
Yeah.
it's okay.
What about Cutting Edge?
What is it going to be? Do we?
Let's wait and see. That's what I'm
Yeah.
interested.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, like,
I mean,
if you're only able to use the seasonal weapons and armor and stuff, that like pushes you to
Sure.
like get out of your comfort level a little bit, right?
is it going to be? It's a playlist.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it's going to be kind of like the seasonal activities. Like it's like there's,
Mhm.
but like playlist, like has a different kind of, I don't know. It's intimating that it's like a Vanguard playlist or like a Crucible playlist or like a kind of a core playlist instead of just being a
Mhm.
seasonal activity rotator. Which to me is very interesting because I'm like, well, what are they going to do that's new? It's going to be a PvE activity probably. Are they trying to replace Gambit? Like, what are they doing?
Mhm.
I don't know.
They
I'm
did
fascinated.
Gambit.
I would
That's
love
up
to
next.
see. I would love to see something like Menagerie, like something that's like, I don't know, like escalating rooms of challenging combatants, or something with a
Mhm.
jumping puzzle in the middle. I don't know. Like I think they could do something really fun. But I'm hoping it's new. I'm hoping it's not reprised or anything. That it's just absolutely brand new stuff. That'd be great.
Please.
Yeah.
With it being in that paragraph, I'm assuming that it's just PvP stuff. So it's just pushing you to use everything.
Oh, you're
outside of
right. It
that.
is in the PvP paragraph.
That would be my assumption.
It's going to be a PvP activity. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
That would be
Yeah.
my assumption, but I could see modifiers for for that kind of thing for grandmasters. That could also piss me
like
off.
I'm like totally picturing a new PvE playlist. They're just like, oh no, this is a PvP playlist. That's cool though. I mean, I get it. They're trying to get people to use the new stuff.
Right.
I get it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And finally, before we get into community questions, Gambit in the Edge of Fate. So Gambit has always been a PvEvP game mode with a loyal fan base and a lot of, let's say, funny anecdotes about eccentric Uncle Drifter. As the Edge of Fate approaches, we wanted to share with you all that Gambit will also be taking a form of hiatus. Players will still be able to play the activity and earn legacy rewards for transmog purposes, and the activity will live under the Worlds tab as it does now. If there is any specific gear you're looking for, Drifter will still be able to focus them as a vendor. This is not the end of Gambit, though. Besides continuing to support the mode for legacy rewards and triumphs, we have plans to bring the spotlight back to Gambit in the future with updated rewards, mechanics that players have seen since the days of Prime, haven't seen since the days of Prime. Gambit.
Are you retiring, Tiddly, from your dredging grind now?
I will guild Dregadin as many times as it is available to me, Dan. No questions. Like I said, we have a support group with donuts. I'm committed. I have not done any other title every single season except even Conquer. I missed the first season. I will guild it as many times as they let me and suffer.
Going down with the ship.
Yep.
I respect it.
Absolutely. Yep.
My sincerest hope here is that they turn this into an event, kind of like Iron Banner, but it works opposite it in some ways. Like
it comes there like every once like 1 week a month or something like that. It's just Gambit week.
Or like you get Iron Banner, and then like a month and a half goes by, and then you get Gambit for a week, and then a month and a half goes, like something like that, so that you have a reason to get in there for the updated stuff, and that it's not around the entire time, so it's not it's not like not taken advantage of, but like it has some sort of like finesse to it, because
yeah,
like I'm
willing to hear him out, because
it's
been a while for me.
I got burnt out on Gambit back in the season of the Drifter. Like that's just where that was. A lot of people did. Yeah,
that's the season we first got Gambit Prime.
Yeah, man.
You were out
that was an entire season. It was an entire season of Gambit, dude.
Yeah, it was a lot of Gambit. Plus, it was also integrated into a lot of grinding too, for bounties and also for like titles and events. So I get why people are sick of it.
That small group of the community now is feeling, because there are some people who play this game only. I don't want to say only, but their thing is Gambit.
Die hard.
I'm curious how they're gonna feel about their one part of the game that they feel like is theirs now getting put on life support.
Yeah. I am not that. I am just long suffering.
Yeah. Eddie in chat says, I think I quit the game for 3 months that season because it was just so much Gambit.
Understandable reaction. Yes, completely understandable.
Don't blame you.
Nope.
Yeah, man. Like, that was also.
I'm glad they said something though.
Mm-hmm.
They had to.
There was something in there. Well, especially because everybody was like, "Oh no, it's going away." After like they said that they wouldn't update it anymore. They said they weren't going to update it anymore, and then like the next with Final Shape, they updated a couple of the maps and like added new enemies and stuff in. And so like, well, are you like? I'm glad that this is a thing, so that people can like mark their calendars by it or whatever. But like, yeah. So Subsistence Sasquatch says Prime mechanics. First time that we saw armor set bonuses. It also had like do you guys remember that in the storyline for Season of the Drifter, there was a thing where like you could snitch on the Drifter, or you became his confidant. And
you could pick the Vanguard or the Drifter.
Yeah, and you could be
we all thought that it was going to end up being this like, oh, there's going to be branching narratives here.
Oh, you can use like some kind of Sith lore versus Jedi thing.
Right. And then I think it was like one line of dialogue at the end.
Everyone was
like
disappointed. There's all this postulating about it. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
it's
But
pretty
they had
funny.
an icon. They had a something. It wasn't a consumable. There was something in your vendor after you snitched that Drifter gave you, and I remember them saying, "Don't delete it because you're gonna need it in the future for like a future thing."
Right.
And so I remember being like, "Oh, I can't wait! I can't delete this," and nothing ever happened from it.
Yeah.
Although I have to say, this gives Bungie the coolest opportunity ever for the Renegades expansion to actually do a Sith Lord versus Jedi and have the Guardian choose the light or choose the dark. They could do like freaking cosmetics with it.
Two
They
different
could do
titles?
like
Two different
well,
titles.
yeah, you could, and then you take a different path depending on what you pick.
Yeah.
So you could play the story as good or you can play the story as evil, and then the choices you make and like how you play the game will change how the story progresses. That would be sick. That would be so good, and it would fit just perfectly with Star Wars. It really would for the Star Wars season. That'd be
We're
so
gonna
cool.
come back and be like, "Tiddly called it months ago."
Yeah, mark it down.
Write it down. Write it down.
Write it
Be like,
down.
wait a minute, what am I? Tiddly said that this is going to happen. Ah, they're listening again.
They're listening to the podcast again. That'd be so cool.
Last thing here. So the Bounty for Good starts tomorrow. So that's the Bungie Foundation campaign. That's going from that started on the 13th. And then we have Bungie Day right around the corner on 7/7/2025. So they always end up doing like some sort of deal on their shop there. Like most of the proceeds go to the Bungie Foundation. Are you guys planning anything for your streams for Bungie Day?
Yeah, definitely like to do fundraisers for Bungie Day. And I am doing the 7th column PvP tournament as a truly
Let's
terrible
go.
PvP player. Oh man, I have 2 really sweaty players that I'm playing with who do like trials helps and stuff. Nervous is our team captain. But so he's insane. And like our other team member is also a PvP player, and then there's me. So, but I think physics is in our bracket. So if we win our first game, and like then I have to play physics, and I'm just like, God.
We'll invite him on the next week.
Oh no! It's for a good cause, though. I am happy to suffer in PvP for a good cause, so that's gonna be fun.
Heck yeah, man! I need to hammer out. I think I'm gonna do a spelling bee again. For Bungie
Hell
Day.
yeah!
Oh,
Let's
So-
go.
If you're a good speller, and you're like I can spell them Destiny words, get at me in the DMs. That'd be great.
Love it. That's awesome.
With that, that's all. That's everything that we had planned for today. So let's get into community questions, of which we only have one currently. And so we will ask that one, and then if none others pop up, that will be it. That will be like just the end of the episode.
Finito.
The real Schmitty question: do you think they should 100% disable artifact for day 1 raids?
Disable artifacts?
Just disable the artifact completely. That way it takes out that bounty grind. It takes out
Right.
that kind of little bit of leeway that you get with the with power.
I don't think I feel like we touched on this earlier, but I don't think the artifact makes as big of a competitive change as people might think. I know I complained earlier about it for like reasons, but I don't think, even though I'm a day 1 raider and I'm generally very competent in a day 1 raid, I complete them almost every time since I've been doing them. I'm not a top player in the sense of like I'm not like really, really, really having a chance. Like I'm going to get to day 1 completion, but it probably will be a couple hours after World's First is done, after top 100 is done. The best I've done, I think, is top 1,000 in one of the raids. So like I can get to there, and that's it. So my opinion is only in that bracket. But even me, I don't think like disabling it is going to make a big change in who is going to win. You know, like Tiddly said earlier, the teams that normally are winning are teams that are just locked in as a team that can complete the mechanics. Once you figure out the mechanics, you're getting right to DPS and you're locking in on DPS. That's Artifact is not going to change that. It helps players who are not as good, or it really helps players alleviate some situations where we're down 4 reses, we have no more revives. We just gotta get the damage one more time because the artifact's going to help bolster our weapons and push us over the edge.
Mm-hmm.
So it won't make a big deal in a sense of, say, the top 1,000 teams completing. It'll actually hurt players who are not as skilled, not as experienced, who need that artifact to get their day one completion. At least from my point of view.
I would say I would suggest the opposite and just unlock it. If you want to eliminate the bounty grind, just unlock it for everybody on day one.
Yeah.
During contest.
Like
And that way no one has to grind. Yeah, temporary unlock the artifact for everybody that day. And then
that would be interesting
grind
choice.
it. Maybe have it available for like, contest.
So would it only be available if you're inside of the raid in the contest?
Yes. Yeah, I think that could be. I mean, because I think that's the foundation of that question is how do you eliminate full more prep grind or bounties or whatever, and that will be a really easy way to do it.
I wouldn't be against that at all.
Yeah, you're like yes, I can play other video games more.
I'm sure there's probably a technical reason why they can't do that, maybe. But hey, if Bungie can do that, let me not have to deal with bounties for the next month. Sure, please. Yeah, I can't see a bad. I'm sure someone can. I can't see a bad reason why, if it was technically possible, just let it be unlocked for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that would even the playing field out, like even more so. I think that's I like that. Who's Eddie is asking, seeing that they haven't specified, and if I recall correctly, the raid release date was on a Saturday. Do you think it will be a 24-hour or 48-hour contest window?
It's on a Saturday, right?
That's what Eddie's saying.
Do I think it should be 48 hours or should it be 48 hours?
Or do we think that it's going to be 24 or 48 hours for the contest window?
Was Salvation's Edge 48? I don't remember.
Yeah,
yes,
I
it was
think
48,
every raid since Root.
I think they'll probably keep it to being 48.
Mm-hmm.
Would people be upset if they went back to 24?
Some yes, some no.
That's my interesting.
Some yes, because there's some that are mad that it's 48 right now.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be 48. I would bet 80-20 like odds that it's going to be 48. I think that the majority of the community likes the 48, and there's a smaller subsect of the community that really doesn't like that 48. Yeah. So either way, someone's going to get mad, but I think 48 is way more likely.
Because my only thinking is, I wonder if they pushed it to Saturday to make it back being 24 hours. Because Salvation's Edge was Friday and it was 48.
Yeah.
And
my only guess is they're giving people more time to interact with like the story stuff that's going on there. Because Scarrow last week said that it was probably one of the longer campaigns that we've had in Destiny for a while, based on like what he saw. Okay. So maybe they're just giving you a little bit more time there. Done. Yeah,
could be. That's not a bad thing. I know that one of the critiques of doing contest raid race like a week after the new content releases is that everything feels rushed and you're trying to get through the new content. It's hard to enjoy it and relax or prepare or get used to the new metas and practice if you're a sweaty team. So there's definitely downsides to doing it right away, but I don't know that a day difference. I mean, maybe it helps address people who are at work, but then they also are like they did a really good job this time about letting people know far enough in advance to take time off from work, which I know has been a problem in the past. So, but yeah, I think 48.
It's just a weird thing that I'm just thinking of all of the obstacles you have to go over.
Mhm.
You have to do the content, obviously. And then once you do however long the campaign is, whether because historically it's been like 8 hours now, because of it being like Metroidvania style, it might take longer, maybe 12 hours.
Yeah.
I don't know. So you have to spend the extra time, and maybe they just put it a day back just to give more people time to get through that and prep.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like
I
don't know if this is going to be more time consuming than Final Shapes campaign. So that
Final
one
Shape
took
was
a
a
fair
doozy,
amount of time
That was
on top of like
time-consuming.
you got to do all of the side quests to unlock all of the
Oh, yeah,
prismatic stuff and all
prismatic
that. It's
stuff.
like
What a great campaign, though.
I don't
guess.
know,
Yeah.
like based off of what I've seen, it seems that we're going to have to do less about the campaign to be like finished. There's no new subclass. There's no, from what I can tell, no like stuff I have to go out of my way to unlock. None of the exotics, from what I've seen people show off, are any exotics that I plan on using in the contest raid. Maybe No Land Beyond's Catalyst, but I highly doubt I have to do, I don't know, maybe just strikes. Let's probably drop some strikes. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be confirmed. That's the only thing, as far as I know, I'm going to do the campaign and then figure out how I need to get the Catalyst for No Land Beyond and finish that. Outside of that, it's just, okay, what sandbox changes are different? What's the gameplay loop of DPS now? Okay, I'm ready. You know, it's like, but maybe something's going to come out that's like game breaking that I don't know of.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm curious about the ban list too. Like,
Yes,
what
that
people
too.
the
The ban list.
Yeah, the ban list, what's not going to be allowed, which, you know, we may not know until like new artifact and, you know, because usually that changes what would, you know, bring stuff, some stuff forward, bring some stuff back, depending on what it's going to look like. They haven't told us what the new artifact's going to look like yet, right?
They did.
I think it's out. Yeah.
They
Or is that-
didn't, but it's out from all of the YouTubers that
Oh.
went. It's definitely out.
Okay.
So there's a
it's out.
couple things in the last column that seems really good. They're all built into Radiant. Like one of them gives you free Radiant just for doing precision hits, and there's a couple other things that gives you like different solar buffs. So solar is definitely gonna be really strong. So like obviously sleeper and all that stuff, but like most of the stuff that we're gonna test is probably like, let's test Div, let's test Queenbreaker, let's test Sleeper, Lord of Wolves.
Right.
Let's see what swords they're talking about, and let's check a couple primaries. That's kind of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I could see them also like changing into Saturday so that like traditionally most jobs are like Monday to Friday, like 9 to 5.
Right.
And so like that accommodates.
And they like to like do the whole like showcase in the studio.
Yeah. Like it accommodates people not needing to call off for work on those days. I made the mistake. Man, back when I was a younger creator, I made the mistake of saying something like, if you are able to, or if you really want the raid race, then you'll make time for it. Like you figure out.
You were saying that?
Holy shit, dude. Well, like I just said it as kind of like like people take off for things. Like I get that. And like, dude, the amount of shit that I got for that. Like,
oh man.
I remember.
Did you put it on Twitter and then people were just like,
yeah, it was so bad that I took it off Twitter. Like it was bad.
And then apologized. You're like, I'm
No,
sorry that
like,
take was
Jesus
so
Christ,
controversial. You're like, people get mad.
Jesus, yeah.
Think about my 15 wives and my 80 children.
Well, I also and I get it too because that's
how many wives?
That's 15 and 80 children. And
Dan,
45
in
jobs.
Utah.
Dad!
Yeah, you want me to take off? What?
But you have time for video games, Dan.
Yeah, but God. Like, so I had posted that, and 3 toasters. I had posted, but I had posted that, and that was an assumption on people's time, right? Like that was,
Yes.
Man.
I think it's a reasonable, post.
And,
I get the other perspective, but it's like if it's important, then you're gonna take time off for it. I get that perspective, but also the other perspective is like, well, what if I can't? And then the perspective of what they're changing to Saturday for people who normally work Monday through Friday. What about the service industry? What about people who work at restaurants and most of their work is done on the weekends? So like they're at the end of the day, There is
It's gonna
no
inconvenience someone.
perfect solution. Someone's gonna be mad.
Mhm.
You know, I think they're doing the best they can. You know,
Yeah.
so
Man.
I need to know more about the 15 wives though. We'll table that one.
Yeah. We'll do that for the after show.
Okay.
The Pope of Copium says, thoughts on all this new stuff being added to an ancient game engine still. I really want to see a game update, but I don't know if that takes time. Look, man.
Do you not think this is somewhat of them trying to get ready for a game engine update? I might be the only one that feels that way.
I don't know.
Not that like it matters, but like they clearly seem to be able to update the game still on this same engine.
Right. Well, I guess my question would be, what would be the benefit of doing a game engine update? Like, I'm not a programmer, so I don't know. I mean, I'm
I have
under
no idea.
maybe somebody in chat
You're
could
just
let us know
dropping a
what
new
that would
engine
be.
on an old chassis, though.
Actually,
you know what I mean?
I mean, I
Like-
get that. I get that it's kind of like, you know, there's, you know, it probably becomes really bogged down and complex if you're building new stuff on top of like old stuff that's already kind of layered like sediment, you know, over time back to the Paleolithic. But I feel like the PC update from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2 was very significant in terms of how the game felt to play.
Mhm.
And I don't personally notice anything. I mean, maybe I guess my question is maybe answer a question with a question, like maybe would it help the updates be smoother for them and like less bugs? Like I don't know what the benefit would be for a new game engine, because I feel like it works pretty well. I don't know. Easier to code on.
Yeah, easier to code on. I'm Kayla.
Drop
Yeah, it makes
old
sense.
gens.
The only
I feel like dropping old gens is more effective than engine coding.
it is, but you'd be surprised the amount of people who are still playing on PS4s.
That is very true, and I wonder
Well,
if
yeah.
that's why they haven't dropped it, because
Well, sure. I mean, then that's the real reason for console, right? Is accessibility. It's like an accessible price point for people to play the game, and they want a high user base for all of the financial stuff. I totally get it. But yeah, dropping old gen. I think dropping old gen would be really good. But
Yeah, like I just think right now for what it's doing, they're not adding new abilities. They're not adding like much in the way of like serious new mechanics to the game. Like every mechanic has like some root in another one that has been released before.
Yep.
I honestly, I can see them just tacking on these things to this game while they're trying to hammer out plans
Marathon.
for like, while they're hammering out Marathon, while one team's dealing with that and everything that came with that. And then I can also see them like maybe having the conversation about a Destiny 3. Like maybe actually having a conversation about it. Because we know that historically wasn't a thing that they were talking about like up to last year? Like last year it wasn't even a going concern when all the layoff stuff came out.
Year. Yep.
So like
I remember that, yeah.
maybe there's some conversations about that, but also like I don't know. Like
the thought
of it being 2028 and someone playing this game on a PlayStation 4 is just mind-boggling.
Roblox.
I think
Roblox,
it's way better. I think it'd be way better for the game to drop old gen, even if they lose people. I think it'd be better for the game. But I also don't think they're gonna do a new game engine if it ain't broke. Like it just seems like a lot of work. And I think Dan's right. It's more likely that they would do some kind of massive, like build it from the ground up again for a Destiny 3 rather than like a continuation of Destiny 2. But I'm not a coder. I don't know what that would involve. It just seems like it would be a lot of work. And I don't know that they have energy and resources to make that happen right now. So
my other question is probably the resources, if we're being 100% honest. Because like if they were to make a new engine, from the outside looking in,
even if they swapped over to UE Engine 5, something that was already made. Like
true.
They would have to like stop production on like content coming out, probably.
Right.
For a
It's
fair
the
amount of
resourcing
time to do that.
Yeah.
And they just can't.
Yeah.
Now maybe, because I've talked about this as well, maybe they planned on before everything happened with Marathon that they were going to do Marathon and use that to give them time to start really building out maybe D3 or an engine update or something. That they have some sort of like financial resources coming in.
Yeah.
While they slow down D2 for say 9 months so they could do this or something, but
Yeah.
they can't, since their whole bread and butter and their only financial moneymaker for them right now is Destiny. They
Mhm.
probably just can't
And they
drop
just,
like stuff like that
especially like they took that heavy blow with everything with the art, like
with all
theft.
the art stuff.
And
Yeah,
we talked
Yeah.
about that. We talked about that a
We
few weeks
did.
ago, and like they can't just do a thing, right?
yeah.
Like it now is like it feels more than ever make or break for them.
Oh no,
And
not
Oh
the
no,
words make or break.
I know.
No.
Said it. I fucking said it. I understand, but that's what it
We're
feels
gonna
like,
be-
right?
Oh,
It feels like that kind of thing for the company, like because
Yeah.
they just keep getting blow after blow after blow, and like
So next year it's
So
not
many of
going to
those.
be Destiny Digest. It's going to be Marathon Digest.
it's probably gonna be Sony Digest. Who knows, man? Like,
Sony
that's-
Digest.
depending on what happens, but I don't
oh my
know.
goodness.
But Matt Whitley asks, how many old gen players are paying for new expansions? I'd guess someone who hasn't saved up a few $100s over the past 5 years isn't dropping $100 on a new expansion. You'd be surprised, dude. Like,
You'd be surprised.
like
Yeah.
as somebody who like helps people in the community, like you see people from everywhere, like from
you
from
can tell
every
with those
system.
when you're flying in, you're like, who's on console?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I play on a
Yeah.
PS5, but I like
No, but that's different. PS5
Yeah.
is fine. But
We
you
just had-
play with people on PS4. You can just
Yeah.
fly for 45 minutes,
yeah,
just
It's-
flying.
it happens, man. It's
Yeah.
just tough. And like, yeah, you can't like I learned with my with my tweet that I mentioned earlier is like you can't assume somebody's like somebody's time obligation. You can't also assume their monetary situation either, because like maybe they can't get a PS5.
Maybe the game runs fine for them on PS4.
Yeah,
You know?
maybe that's what they're doing, but yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I could see them dropping support for it with like if there's a new generation that comes out, like if PS6 comes out, if whatever the new Xbox
I don't
console
know.
is.
PS2 was around and had support until like
Yeah.
2014.
That's fair.
So long. Yeah.
And like there's an argument to be made that maybe they're trying to build it like something like Roblox or Minecraft, where it's just a
But it's just like
forever game.
available everywhere.
It's a forever game.
Yeah.
And it's available everywhere. And like you're still going to be buying the same game. You're just updating the whatever console you get.
Yeah.
Yeah. That said, my last question for you guys is so the actors SAG-AFTRA reached a tentative agreement a few days ago,
Yeah.
earlier this week.
Awesome.
And we learned from Scaro and a few other sources that Destiny, that Edge of Fate is going to have voice acting from other actors filling roles, just so that they can actually have voice acting in them. Do you how soon after Edge of Fate launches do you think we get the voice actors who were supposed to play those characters get their voice lines in the game?
Like updated?
Like updated.
Retroactively?
Yeah.
Goodness, I don't know. I'm
I don't
guessing there's
know.
going to be a pretty significant lag. I'd say
Yeah.
like 3 months, 4 months, maybe.
Maybe Renegades.
Yeah.
Maybe Renegades.
I could see them
Yeah.
doing that for Renegades, or maybe like at the 6-month mark or the 3-month mark where they
Because Heresy's
that
not going to
update.
stay around, right? All that stuff.
no, all that stuff is
So they
going.
want to deal with all that stuff with like
Right.
seeing Drifter in orbit and stuff and not saying anything.
Yeah. I mean, so Eddie in chat says, "Oh, retroactively update lines? Never." I mean, they said that they're committed to doing that though, like in last week's twid. So we'll see, man. Britton Topher, welcome in. Thank you so much for the raid. But yeah, man, I could see them doing it with the Plaguelands update, because that's going to have
Oh,
new
yeah.
voice
Plaguelands.
lines.
That's right.
That's going to have new voice lines coming in.
It's true.
Like, I could see them swapping those out. That makes sense to me.
You think they would do anything with Is it Zivu or is Savathun? Which was the other one? I know Drifter was like had no dialogue.
Zivu Arath didn't have
Was
any.
it Zivu with Heresy?
Yeah, Savathun. Savathun was still had their voice lines in there. Zivu had 0. Drifter had some. Eris was out, I want to say. Oh no, Eris was in.
Sloan. Okay.
Sloan was the one who, yeah. And Scarrow said last week that like none of that was due to like Bungie having like a strike against them or anything. It was all just like actors in solidarity.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
No scabbing.
No scabbing.
Love it.
That's all the questions fit to print for tonight. So thank you guys so much for riding along with us for episode 104 of the Destiny Digest podcast. Before we close out, why don't we tell the folks at home where they can find us this week and across the internet? Tiddly, let's start with you.
Sure. Got you. I am twitch.tv/Tiddly, available weekday mornings, 9:00 Central or so. You know, it is getting a lot easier to wake up and get started because of all the sunshine. Love that. I'm like, it's light. We're ending Destiny Digest. It's light outside still. That's fantastic. I'm also on Blue Sky, and I am Tiddly on Blue Sky.
Heck yeah. Epic Dan, what about you, sir?
You can find me on twitch.tv/EpicDan22. Trying to finish up my last little bit of my 100% of Elden Ring Night Ring, and gonna be struggling through Doom, the Dark Ages this week. So if you want to see me get a little bit upset, if not very upset at times, then come on by. But you'll also find me on TikTok at EpicDan22, at YouTube, and Blue Sky. That's everywhere. Or just Google EpicDan22, you will find me.
Yeah, just do that. My name is Danfinity. You can find me on the Twitter and the Instagram and all over the places. Somebody tried to steal my account earlier today while I was on stream. Somebody tried to steal my Instagram account, and I was like, "What are you gonna do with that? What are you gonna do with that?" And they did.
You know what they're gonna do.
They're
gonna post all of those spicy toasters.
It's feet pics and toasters. It's feet pics and toasters. That's all they're gonna do. They're gonna try to sell them to my mom and my dad, and then that's gonna be real awkward around the dinner table if it wasn't already awkward enough. So that was that was a thing that happened today. But you can check out my website, danfinity.gg, if you want to check out a really cool website that has information on there and also links to all my stuff. Go check that out. With that, we'll close out Destiny Digest episode 104. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you find what you're grinding for.